Okay, so thank you for joining I Am a Writer Now. And today's topic is write your book in just 15 minutes a day. This is a game changer for me and for how I'm working with some clients who are able to incorporate this method into writing their books. And so we're going to discover how to do that today. I'm trying to get this to cooperate with me and change pages. Okay, that worked. Okay, so I know most of you or some of you, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm Minister Jeri Darby, and I am a writer now writing coach. I'm a retired nurse. I was in nursing for 43 years, and I spent 20 years or over 20 years in the mental health field, which is my first love when it comes to nursing. I'm an author, minister, and a Christian writing coach with over 30 years of writing experience. I have accumulated over 100 publishing credits from various magazines and anthologies, including Chicken Soup for the Nurse's Soul, a second dose. I was very proud to be published in that publication. And when I got my book, I started looking in the back of the book for my story. And then I discovered that my story was the very first one. And not only that, I had a chance to talk to one of the publishers, and she said that it was her favorite story. And she also used it to help recruit nurses to the nursing field. We were going through a nursing shortage. So I'm going to just let you meet some of my clients. And I know that some of you are just right here in this presentation. And thank you for joining again. But I have worked with clients throughout the United States. I have worked with people in Florida and Tennessee, Louisiana. I have a handful of people in Texas. And this guy right here is from India. So I have just been connected with people all over. And I just thank God for the opportunity to work with so many people. So I'm going to say and give you all the opportunity to share who are you? And so share something about yourself in the chat. What do you do? What state are you in? Are you an author? If you're not, what's holding you back? So if you can just share something in the chat about yourself, that will be great. I would appreciate that. I can't get to the chat right now because I'm in full screen, but that's okay. I will read that stuff later. And also, if you have any questions along the way, will you please put those in the chat and I will address all your questions at the end. So I want to talk a little bit about my coaching method. I shared that I am a nurse, and so I utilize the nursing process when I'm working with clients. And the nursing process, when you're working in the medical field, you can't just say, for instance, a person has a really bad wound. You can't say, okay, well, I tried this and it didn't work. No, you have to keep trying until you find something that works. So we start with assessment and gathering information. And that's what I do when I'm working with clients. I gather what are they working on, what are their goals. And then we go to diagnosis to see what is the problem. So I try to, identify what their needs are and any issues that have been challenging them with completing their books. Planning, we develop a strategy, implementation, we get moving forward, and then we evaluate, is this working? And if it's not, then we start all over with assessment until we come up with something that works. I have worked with challenging clients over the years. A number of my clients have been seniors, like in their 80s. And I had one lady that was on hospice, determined to write her book before her time was up. And Many of them could not use a computer, they couldn't do emails. And so it was a challenge, but God has always given me the grace and a strategy that if that person wants to complete a book, I will find a way. And He's been faithful to do that. So let's get started with how to write your book 15 minutes a day. I don't know where to start. I don't have time. These are the two most common things that I hear when it comes to people writing a book and why they haven't written their books yet. I don't know where to start. I don't have time. So I'm going to share how you can overcome or meet those challenges with just 15 minutes a day. To start off, take time to sit down and really think about your book, because a lot of times what's happening, our books is just swimming around in our head, and we never get anything on the paper. These ideas are just colliding with each other in our head. But take 15 minutes a day to sit down, to think, but don't overthink, and be thinking about what is the point of your book. And I tell people to think in stories, because I run across a lot of writers that want to write a book and they want to fill it with scriptures, but the Bible is already written, and we know that it's a good book, and scriptures are good. I'm not saying don't use scriptures. Scriptures are good, but you got to connect all that with your stories, because when you think about it, Jesus taught in stories. And people, they don't walk around quoting scriptures. A lot of times, they don't even know where these stories are. They don't know if it's in Matthew or Genesis, but they know that they heard a story. And that's how your readers are going to connect to you. They're going to connect with your stories. So when you're sitting down for these 15-minute segments, this is for the busy person. Think in stories, think in chapter. Every story should be connected to a chapter. Think in relevance. It may be a good story, but it doesn't have any relevance for the book that you're writing. So take 15 minutes a day to create the skeleton of stories and chapters. Think of names for these chapters. And you're not even writing yet. You're just trying to formalize your book in your head. I love the scripture, Psalms 45:10. It says that my tongue is the pen of a ready writer. When you think about it, we're always writing with our tongue. Our words are being inscribed in people's minds and their hearts and their spirits. Words are spirit. Words are alive. That's why people that have abusive relationships with parents and they're still struggling, you'll find them saying, they can still hear. They're still being challenged by what words were spoken years ago. I work in mental health. I saw that over and over. It didn't matter if people were 50, 60, 70 years old. Those words that were written in their minds and their hearts and their spirits, it tormented them if they were bad. It blessed them if they were good. So we're always writing. So think about, what are you talking about when you're at work? Because the things that you're passionate about and that you're always talking about, those are clues on what you should write about. What do you talk about with your family? What are your core values?
Recording in progress.
Okay, I don't know what that's about. Okay, so that gives you clues. What are you talking about with your friends? What makes you cry? Sometimes we have traumas, and those are a lot of times stories that are waiting to be told. What keeps you awake at night? Sometimes we're tossing and turning. And people have told me, I be trying to go to sleep, and this book just won't stop talking to me. I keep hearing God speak saying, you need to write your book. What's keeping you awake at night? What makes you laugh until you cry? things that make us happy. Books don't always have to be about pain and suffering. It could be about joy. And that's what life is. It's joy and sorrow. Okay, who's ready to talk about how to write a book using 15 minutes a day? I can't hear you, but I imagine you all are saying, I'm ready. I'm ready. Okay, so let's go. So, you know the notes I told you to think about, thinking stories, thinking chapters. You're going to pull out those notes. And while you're writing, you really want to key in on what's the takeaway of your book. You don't want to be writing just to be writing. That's what a journal is for. But if you're writing a book, you want it to have a takeaway. If I read a book, I want to leave with something that I got something out of that book, that it was of value to me, and it was a good investment of my time to read that book. So keep thinking in chapter, refer to your list of story, choose a story, a chapter to work on. And for the next 15 minutes, that's what you need to do. And the strategy for completing this, day 1 or 2, you were forming your chapters and stories. Day 3 to 5, you can break these segments up any way that works for you. When you have a story and you have a chapter, you want to look at a story and a chapter to break it up in bullet points under each chapter. And what happens, those are going to be your paragraphs. So you want to make sure that you expand any bullet points into paragraphs. And don't worry about the next chapter until the next day. Focus on completing that one chapter. Just the other day, I completed a chapter while I was making breakfast, because the strategy for doing this is to use your tongue rather than sitting down to write or to type at a laptop. You're actually talking about your chapter. And so that QR code there is my notes, and it has different ways that you can key into different devices to record. I discovered using my iPhone, and this was an accidental discovery, but it was a real game changer for me when I discovered that I could use my voice memos, which I record stuff all the time, but I didn't know that once I used my voice memos, that it created a text, and that I could actually copy and paste that text into my Word document. And so I started using that to record chapters of my book. You can do the same thing in Google Docs. I think it's Google Docs that we use sometimes to type in. They have a feature where you can record instead of type. Many laptops have the feature, instead of typing, you can just talk and record your books. So especially with AI today, there's so many ways that you can talk and it will transcribe for you. And of course, this is going to be a draft. And that's what we should be working on initially. It's a book draft. So many people get stuck because they're trying to write the perfect sentence. They're trying to write the perfect paragraph, the perfect chapter. And when you're writing your book, you don't worry about perfect. You worry about just getting your story done. The perfecting of it comes later. So I have testimonies, and I was just sharing that just yesterday, I completed a chapter while preparing my breakfast, because I had always thought, I'll sit down and record a chapter, but I really like that I could be busy and still working on my book. But don't just take my word for how great this is.
Hello, fellow writers. My name is Yolanda Brown Stanley, and I am a writer now. My mother and writing coach, Jeri Darby, has recently introduced me to a technique called Write Your Book in 15 minutes a day. And what I do is I use my voice memo on my phone, and when I have a thought about what I want to put in my book next, I use it and I continue from there. Now, I have been trying to write this book for like 20 years, so it is helping me a lot. When I do my writing prompts, because I've used it before when I dictate, I've been thinking about it just takes me a couple of pages, through a couple of pages, or maybe just a couple of sentences. But recently, my writing coach told me to think in terms of chapters. So when you're voice recording, you can literally, if you wanted to, you could summarize up your chapter in stories and in detail through your voice prompts. And so it has really elevated and accelerated my writing in that way. Also, if you struggle with procrastination, when I use the writing prompt technique, the voice memo, what I do is I get a little bit more excited about picking back up my book and getting started in it. It kind of helps create a little level of excitement. So I would encourage you all to definitely try it if if you get stuck, or if you struggle with procrastination, or if you struggle with when you pick back up your writing and not knowing how to like continue. It's definitely a tool that can help you. So I hope that this has helped, and I hope you all have a great evening and happy writing.
So I want to thank my daughter, Yolanda, who is I just want to give her a shout out because she's one amazing writer. This woman could write a movie, a series, a historical piece. That's how gifted she is. But the enemy lies to us as writers and tell us that we're not good enough or we can't really do it. I think she's confident now in her writing skills, and I'm so proud of her for even doing this video because she tries to stay in the background. So thank you, Yolanda, for doing that. And her book has made major progress since she's been using this technique. And so, Alicia, are you here? If you are, will you come on camera? And Alicia is a client that I am currently working with. And I am just really proud of her progress also. So can you come on camera, Alicia, if you're here? I'm not sure. Let me look at my participant list here. Okay, I see you, Alicia. Can you come on camera and share your testimony?
Okay, I'm trying to see. You say you can see me. Can you see me now? Or can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. I'm not sure how to turn my camera on.
Okay, it's on. I just put it on view here. Can everybody see Alicia?
No,
No?
I can't.
Okay. I'm going to stop the share.
Here I am being, you got me being really, really relaxed listening.
Okay.
Hello. Yeah, I'm listening now, honey.
I can see her and
Okay.
hear her.
All
All
right.
right, then. Alicia, you can share your testimony. I didn't mean to bring everybody on.
Okay. Hi, my name is Alicia Green. I started writing my book this year, and I was very afraid to do it because a lot of it was painful. But Miss Jeri, she prayed with me the whole time. She helped me through it, and she helped me learn how to turn my journaling into stories. I would go over my journal writing because I've been writing in a journal since I was about 9. But I was able to turn those into stories, and I did the 15 minutes a day. What helped me the most was reading the Bible from the front to the back. and I realized that the my wounds had purpose. So so what I would do was I would go over my journaling and I would just be creative and turn them into stories. So but like I said, the most part of it was not being afraid, and Miss Jeri telling me that you know, the enemy wants me to be afraid and to just do it. So that's and she also taught me about using the memo, so that after I got done writing it, I would um record it and send it to her. So I learned a lot this year. And thank you, Miss Jeri.
And thank you, Alicia, for sharing your story. And the name of her book coming out is Careless Whispers. And it's a very powerful book. And she is being very vulnerable and sharing her trauma over the years. And I'm sure it's going to be very helpful for many people. So thank you, Alicia. And so I'm going to go back to the presentation. Okay, see if I can get back to it. Okay, I'm back. And I'm going to ask everyone to stay mute until we get done. Okay, did I skip? I don't know. I think I skipped some stuff. Okay. Okay, here we go. The truth is, anyone can write a book. And this 15 minutes a day will help you to get your story on the page. But then the work has just begun. Okay, I'm trying to flip here. I got a pencil. I don't want that. But not everyone can write a book that people will read. And I'm sure that we all have been there when someone say, I have written a book, and you want to be supportive of that person, and you buy it and you open it up and you read a couple of sentences and you realize, I'm not going to invest my time in reading this book. And so that's where a writing coach comes in. You don't want to just write to be writing. You want to write a book that people will read. I couldn't put it down. I have heard that. People say that about my books, and I have heard them express that about people who I have coached to write books. And that's what every writer wants to hear that. You know, this is an example of a bored reader and a sighted reader. We all want excited readers that our stories are engaging and they keep turning the page. I can remember when I used to read a lot, you know, before I start working full time, I used to get the thickest books and I would be up all night reading because I couldn't put it down. And so those are the kind of books that we want to create. And that's the kind of stories that I would help to transform your book into. I would transform your good book into a great book. And you know, that's the fear of every writer. It's like, is my book going to be good enough? And I have one client, she had been delivered from drugs, and she's deceased now. And my heart aches every time I think about her, because she really wanted to write her book. But then she said, you know, there's so many books out there about people who've been delivered from drugs. What's going to make my book any special? Why would people read my book? And it's like, because everybody's story and journey is unique. And she had a very unique story, a very unique journey, but she took it to the grave with her. And it's sad that too many books are, you know, never released, never expressed. And I just feel like it's the calling on my life right now, the anointing on my life right now is to help to wake writers up to write their books, because God desires that. Some people are born to write, and that's a gift that God puts in us even before we are released from our mother's stomach. wounds before he released us into the earth. He puts the gift of writing in us. And the thing I want to say is I used to tell people that writing is one of the most important gifts in the world. And then God said, no, tell my people that writing is the most important gift in the world, because nothing happens in this world without words. Nothing. Okay, so went too fast. I want to share that my coaching services include start to finish coaching. A lot of times people feel like they have to be done with their book before they enter into a coaching process. But I have clients that are all over. Some have not started, some are in the middle, some are completed. But my coaching services are start to finish, and they will meet you where you are. I do what is called production editing, and that includes going beyond looking at punctuation and spelling, but organization of the flow, the tone of your book, and happen to elevate the engagement level. You know, your book has to be engaging from the first sentence throughout every chapter. You have to keep your readers engaged. Identifying the target audience. It's like I was working with one client, and she had about 7 books in one book. And I had told her, you need to write the rest of these books, but they don't belong in this book, because you'll lose people if you're all over the place. I identify your strengths and your weaknesses as a writer, so that as you go on to write other things, you know, you're going to be in a better place. My coaching style is one-to-one coaching through Zoom. I do phone calls, whatever is needed for a particular visit. I offer prayer and support and accountability, because I understand the warfare it takes to write a book. Satan hates writers with a passion, because God put himself in a book and destroyed the works of the devil. And he knows that when we write our stories, especially if we're writing testimonies, that those that read it, not only do we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimonies, but those that read our stories are going to overcome just the same. So, yes, it's very important that we pray. Otherwise, we're going to get discouraged. Otherwise, we're going to get distracted or derailed, deterred, anything to keep us from completing our assignment. Confidence building. I help writers understand their importance, their significance, and why it is imperative that they stay on this path and on this journey. That it's not just a desire that they woke up with, but it's a divine assignment. I mean, if you're writing for God. Training to improve writing techniques. I have to point out how your techniques could be improved as we go through your book, because we're actually collaborating and going through your book together. I have unlimited text and email support. I usually say I'll get back with you in 24 hours, but usually it doesn't take that long. I have a flexible payment plan, and the service fee is going to be dependent on the extent of the investment of time for your service. I have different services that I provide for authors. Ongoing support following publication. I stay in touch with my writers, and anything I can do to promote them or to give them a shout out, I do that. These are some of the testimonials that I have, and all the photos that I shared with you before. Each one of them has given me a positive review. And I see Sue is here. This is her review. And thank you for that, Sue. This is one of my senior clients that completed his book. he was so excited that this dream or goal that he had for years, that he was able to complete it.
Quiet. Yeah.
And so this is my contact information, and everyone that attended the seminar, if you want the video of this presentation, that'll be available to you. And I'm having a special on my service. I provide an hour phone call for $50 an hour where you can connect with me. Some people just want, people connect with me all the time. Like, will you read my book? Will you give me feedback? Or if you just want to talk about your book, I don't have a valuable time to just read and give people feedback. But if you want to connect with me and discuss your book in detail and discuss how to create a page turner, we can do that. And for this week only, it's $40 an hour. This QR code is the link to my calendar. That's what I'm trying to say. So, okay. Thank you for attending. And I am going to look at the Q&A because I can read that. I don't know if you all had any questions, but I should see. Well, did anyone have any questions?
No, just thank you, sweet Jeri.
Okay, I'm going to look at the chat. We got hellos. Oh, people were telling about themselves. That's great.
Is there any way to get the page that had the list of ways to start out, make the chapter notes and the bullet points? You had a page that had those things on it, and I'd like to see that.
Okay. I can send it to you when I send the video. I'll send that to you also.
Okay, thank you.
I'll send a link. You can click the link and you'll have access to that page.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm not
someone
a
said,
good note taker.
someone asked what's included in the consultation. I have a free 20-minute consultation that if you're thinking that you want coaching services from me, I will do a 20-minute consultation with you, and I will go over my services. And pretty much what I do is, like I said, the nursing process. I will assess where you're at and what it is you think you need and share what I offer. I will share my cost of service. And then I will also send you a service agreement. That service agreement will cover everything that we discussed and everything I said that I will provide. And I will ask you to return it to me saying I agree, unless you have any questions. And once I receive the service agreement, then our services begin. Once I receive the service agreement and your down payment, our services begin. So I think that's all the questions that I see. Any other questions? I'm going to stop the recording. Let's see, figure out how to do that. Okay, I always struggle with how to stop this recording. It is on here somewhere. Request start.